Okay, I got a cross versus battle for y'all today, and it is Gajeel Red Fox from Fairy Tale versus Eustace Kid from One Piece. Now, we'll have two scenarios. The first scenario, they'll fight in Fairy Tale. We'll just have them fight in Magnolia, and then in the second scenario, it's in One Piece, so they'll fight in Wano, right? They'll fight in Udon prison, right? That's what they'll be fighting for the second scenario. Now, in the first scenario, who has the strength? Gajeel takes strength. He's a dragon slayer. These dragon slayers are physically strong. They have to fight and take down dragons. That's what their magic is used for. Yeah, he has physical strength. Kid doesn't have that kind of striking power or even lifting power to even try to do some shit like that, right? Speed goes to Gajeel. You know, in his normal Iron Dragon slaying form, he's still faster than Kid. Kid carries around all that junk, right? So it weighs him down. I would never say Kid was a fast character, right? Gajeel, and then once he goes into his Iron Shadow Dragon slaying form, the Iron Shadow, yeah, he's even faster than. So that's why speed goes Gajeel. Durability goes to Gajeel. He's literally iron. Um, Kid can be damaged. We've seen him get damaged before. And and we've seen Gajeel take damage too. But I'm saying he's more of a tank than that guy. Kid, right? Endurance goes to Gajeel. Kid was doing okay, but he had that help from Law during the fight against Big Mom. So it's like, would he really be lasting that long in a fight against Big Mom if he didn't have help? Gajeel fought against Natsu, who's also a guy who could, last long in a fight. He fought against other people. You know, he was getting jumped, and he had to, turn that shit, against the people who were jumping him during Tenro Island. Um, these Dragon Slayers have, decent endurance, so I'll give it to him. Intelligence wise, none of these characters are smart. I don't give them like I would never say that Gajeel or Kid are smart characters, but definitely Gajeel is more of a thinker, just a little bit more than Kid. Right? Kid will get to the fight and he'll just start fighting, and then Gajeel's fighting, but he's also watching what's going on. He's like, okay, this guy can magnetize things, and he might try to pull me in. If he does, I'll be slashing him with some of my attacks. I can eat some of that junk if I need to power up. Experience goes to Kid slightly, right? I think he's a little bit older than him, and also he's been around. Um, Close skills go to Gajeel. Gajeel in close quarters is better than Kid in close quarters. Range skills, I'll give it to Kid. He could probably match a weaker Dragon Roar. Fuck it, I'm gonna give it to Gajeel. I'm like thinking about it. I'm like, nah, the Dragon Slayer Roar will definitely overcome the damn punk. That's just not beating a Dragon Slayer Roar, especially the Iron Shadow Dragon Slayer Roar that was used against Rogue. Yeah, that shit's Kid's losing that beam struggle, right? Now Recoup goes to Gajeel. And you people who hate Kid know that that Recoup's going to Gajeel and not Kid. Um, Hacks go to Gajeel. Like I said, he's the Iron Dragon Slayer. He has Dragon Force. He has um Iron Shadow Dragon Slaying mode. All those things serve to power him up, right? Now, and he can also eat the junk that Kid tries to throw at him, and you gain strength from that, right? Um, Environment goes to kid here only because I always give the like anytime the One Piece character who has Dough Fruit is in another world, it has less water. One Piece is a world that's all islands, no land. Like there's no like real land masses there, boy. There's no continents. The red line and that's it. But they ain't fighting on the red line like that. So guess what? The environment goes to kid here, but it still don't help because Gajeel wins low difficulty. Now we go into the One Piece world, and let's see what happens then. In One Piece world, they're fighting in Udon prison, right? Strength goes to Gajeel. Speed goes to Gajeel. Durability goes to Gajeel as well. Endurance goes to Gajeel. Intelligence goes to Gajeel. Experience goes to Kid. And slightly close skills go to Gajeel. Range skills go to Gajeel again. Recoup goes to Gajeel. Hacks go to Gajeel. And then the environment goes to Gajeel. Because there is water access. And where's Wano? It's an island, man. Boom! He gets hit with one of these like big attacks, from Gajeel, and he's sent flying. Boom! He falls into the water. It's over. I'll say all that to say that Gajeel wins this fight with low difficulty. Watch some Fairy Tail, watch the One Piece. Both great animes. And comment on this video once you've done both of those things. But be cool on the corner, and I'll have more coming out at some point in time.